Yeah. So what are your thoughts about this? I mean, beyond other than being angry, that's my main thought.
My main thought is I am angry that this is happening. I am not surprised the Trump administration and its various extensions throughout this government, throughout the judiciary branch, have tried to do this. But I think what I'm most angry about is that Democrats are not making noise about this, that liberal media is not raising hell about this. Because if this is allowed to stand, sending someone to jail for 30 years for possessing a box of zines, which was rightfully pointed out, is not a crime. You cannot go to jail for possessing literature in this country, right? If that's allowed to fly, it is basically the end of the First Amendment, the way I think about it. And that is a extremely difficult batch of toothpaste to put back in the tube, right? That could have repercussions for decades. It is scary to see how this case was argued and the fact that it worked somehow, and the severity in which they're laying down these sentences for people who had really nothing to do with the violence from the way it sounds. But I think the scarier thing to think about is what if this just stands? And what if this administration sees this kind of case and thinks, okay, our jowls are wet. Let's see who else we can go to.
I think that's smart. When Andy Ngo got his bell rung, what was it, 2019? Is that when it was? Summer?
I think so, yeah.
The Committee to Protect Journalists, different from the press freedom thing we read earlier, they were bombarded with messages about why aren't you covering this abuse of the press, right? Where Andy Ngo gets socked around, etc. They had to make some difficult decisions there. It's well, is Andy Ngo even a journalist? Blah, blah, blah. Things like that. They think that the left has been silencing them on free speech and imprisoning them, in 2020 or during Biden's term. That's what they think, and they feel nothing when they do this because they believe those narratives. They believe those narratives. They believe that Andy Ngo is a free speech martyr, and that even though so many of these stories about Antifa, are false, they're also true. We know they're true. Okay, maybe this story was made up about, Antifa civil war in November 2017. Remember that one, Jared?
Oh, yeah.
And there'd be all these things that'd be there's these Antifa are going to crawl through your bedroom window and they're going to chop grandma's head off and all this stuff. Okay, we know these things are not true, but we know they're true, right? The story doesn't, the details of the story about Antifa doesn't have to be proven out with actual events. It represents their feelings about what is. So these people needed to go, for zines, of course, because they believe at their core that they are monsters. The propaganda that they have taken in and produced themselves, in the case of people like Ngo, their brains are cooked on that. They really think Antifa is the most dangerous thing in the entire world, that leftists are ISIS plotters, whatever ISIS plotters that gunned down all those people in Paris in 2015. That's what they think it is, even though there are no dead bodies, right? None of the stories are real, but they think that that's real. So that's what this is. This is just it's the end of years of fiction and fake bullshit, culminating in real prison sentences for leftists. I think we need to petition every political candidate we possibly can to remember these people, to make a statement about these people, to keep drawing attention to these people. They, in some cases, are going to lose their entire lives in prison for going to a noise demo, or in some cases, not even doing that.